worked with it all too much is working with Mathematica. So I'm going to use Mathematica to work out what we have here, okay? So, let's see here. 0, and then my upper limit is 5, and my function is y times. Okay, remember with Mathematica, you want to make sure that it knows specifically, so if you're trying to tell it click on the square root, because that's where all these defined functions are, and use its because that way it's not interpreting it as some other variable. And then in the we have the square root of 25 minus y So again, the though, I use by clicking here and then choosing the function so that I know Mathematica should be interpreting it as to something. And I put parentheses around the whole thing. All right, so it's giving us, make it to 23 over 2 plus 4e to the 5th. Did you guys just set up the double integral the other day?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't expect him to pull up Mathematica, I just was curious. Let's see. What does that do? Oh, huh. It's approximately 582. I didn't know, I guess it was doing, when I said set precision, I was thinking to the thousandths place when I put 3, but I guess it. All right, the next thing I want to do with Mathematica is show you if you actually wanted to put the triple integral in at the very beginning. So, again, Mathematica can sometimes be cooperative and sometimes not, but did you guys see what I did there is I brought up a single integral, but then in this part of it, I clicked the single integral again, and that gave me a double integral, and then I clicked in this part of it, and I brought up a single integral again, so now I've got this set up for a triple integral, and my expression is just 1, okay? It's 1 dz, so don't just leave it blank. I mean, you need to tell Mathematica that you have to put something there, okay? So 1 is what goes in the expression. And then we want dz, dx, dy, and my z's went from 0 to y times, okay, then don't forget to tell the and then x goes from 0 to the square root of 25 minus y squared, and y goes from 0 to 5. All right, so let's see if it's cooperating. Here we go. Yeah, same thing. All right. So within this topic, sometimes we will be working them out. I mean, obviously, as a Calc 3 student, you do need to understand what it means to work through a triple integral. At first, you're using z as the variable, leaving any x and y that would show up, treating them like constants. When you're doing dx, you're treating x as the variable, leaving any z's and x's that show up as constants, etc. there is some practice that you need to do in terms of understanding what goes on when you calculate these, but like I was bringing up, it's, it doesn't take too much for you to end up with some integral that's, somewhat beyond calculating by hand. Like I said, with this one, I suspect it's integration by parts combined with, a trig substitution, but if I have time, I'll go and play with it and try to work it out by hand, but I mainly, there's other things I'm gonna spend time on tonight, and one of them was talking through, if you are gonna use Mathematica and you're doing double or triple integrals, kinda how to piece it together.
The calculators, by the way, do not seem to like nesting integrals.
Wait, the calculator what?
Does not seem to like nesting integrals, by the way.
Oh, well, I don't think, I think the regular 84 doesn't do it, you have to get it down to one variable. At least as far as I know, I'm not gonna say I haven't gotten online to see if there's some little trick around it, but, yeah, I mean, like your calculator would have done this for you, so if you had worked it up to this point, you would have put X here instead of Y, but you should have still gotten the same. In fact, that might not be a bad idea for us to. Try that on the calculator. So, again, I have mine in classic mode because if it's in classic mode, then the whole thing shows up on the screen, whereas if it's in the math type mode, it goes off the screen. So for class presentation purposes, it makes sense to, okay, so math, program number 9, and we have, but again, I have to tell it X, because that's what the calculator uses for the variable, and we have in there the square root of 25 minus x squared minus x. Okay, so that's my function, and then comma x comma 0 comma 5. What does it have? Like, oh.
Oh, you're missing a parenthesis, a closing parenthesis.
Oh, okay.
Around the e to the.
Yeah, actually, I don't need this one, this way. Oh, it's not gonna, okay. I was hoping it would let me delete the one.
No.
There's our 582. So, again, with some, I mean, you can kind of work them out to a point, and then when you get it down to one variable, you can use your calculator. All right, well, why don't at this point, we take the Are You Listening quiz, because that was sort of the end of that first chunk of the lecture before I hand out the new